Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome to another episode of the Rise Magazine podcast. Before I begin, I'd like to say, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. I'd like to greet you all who are watching in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. And so we're really excited for another episode of the Rise Magazine podcast. And before we begin, of course, we want to thank our founder and CEO of Rise Magazine, Student Regional Minister Abdul Sharif Muhammad. He is the founder of Rise Magazine and the Rise Magazine podcast. So we thank him for allowing myself and the Rise Magazine podcast team for being able to come on here and share some words with you all. And so today we have a really, really interesting show. I'm excited, really excited for everyone to watch. But before we begin, I want to just mention a few things. Of course, make sure you order your copy of Rise Magazine by visiting our website at www.risemagazineco.com. Once again, that's www.risemagazineco.com. Also, I want to mention all the various cities that we're in. And so in North America, we are in various cities within the United States. We're in Canada. As far as continents in its countries, and the continent of Africa, we are in Nigeria and Rwanda. In the continent, in the Caribbean, we're in Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, Guyana, St. Vincent, and Antigua, by Allah's grace. In the continent of Europe, we're in Paris, France, and the United Kingdom. And in the continent of Asia, we are in Saudi Arabia. So by Allah's grace, Rise Magazine is rising, and we thank Allah so much for that. Also, I want to take a moment to say happy birth anniversary to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Today is his 89th birthday, and we really, really thank Allah for him, his inexhaustible love and sacrifices. None of us would be here doing what we're doing if it weren't for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, his great example of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We thank him immensely for all of his works, once again, all of his sacrifices. So thank you, Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Okay, and without further ado, as I mentioned, we have a really interesting show. And today we're going to be speaking with Brother Ryan X, who is a part of the Ministry of Agriculture in the Southern region. And so Brother Ryan X is going to share some interesting information for us, with us, what he's doing, and further plans. So Brother Ryan, if you can introduce yourself.
Yes, ma'am. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. And I further bear witness that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the first begotten of the dead and the exalted Christ. And I would further like to bear witness, I'll be remiss in my duty if I didn't thank Allah for leaving in our midst a divine warner, leader, teacher, and guide, and now Messiah, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, in our midst, the one who would save me personally, and I wouldn't be in this position if I would never heard the voice of God, hearken to that voice of God. And it, like Sister Aziza said, it is his 89th birthday today. Happy birth anniversary, Savior. We love you. Greet everyone the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. Yes, ma'am. I am the representative of the Ministry of Agriculture here in the Southern region. I'm excited to be on. I'd like to thank our dear beloved Student Regional Minister, Brother Abdul Sharif Muhammad, for inviting me on to the illustrious Rise Magazine podcast. What we're doing in the Ministry of Agriculture, it's big. As you know, agriculture is very, very important. So I'm glad to be on just to be able to share some words and inspire others to join into the cause as well.
Praise be to Allah. Thanks so much, Brother Ryan. And we're excited. So the first question I have for you is, what exactly are you and the other members of the Ministry of Agriculture, what are your plans? What are you doing to help our nation?
Yes, ma'am. That's a good question. The purpose of the Ministry of Agriculture is to provide a system to where our people can get wholesome, nutritious, sustainable foods. And as we know, in this world, the food is not so good. They even got to the point where they were putting vaccines in the food. Everything's ran by this government, and the food is not so good. So our goal is to help our people be inspired or be knowledgeable about how to obtain certain foods that nourish their bodies. Another goal of the Ministry of Agriculture is to provide raw materials for clothing and homes. So what we're doing right now to help our people, help our nation, we are working with Muhammad Farms, uh, ran by Dr. Ridgely in Brownwood, Georgia. Coming up soon, we have every year there's something called Founders Day on Muhammad Farms, where everyone from around can come. I know a lot of people like myself. I've never really been on a farm till recently. Well, I don't say recently, about 2 years ago. Or was it a year ago? Really been on a big farm and really seeing how farming was until I went to my first Founders Day on Muhammad Farms. And there I was able to learn the importance of agriculture, the importance of farming. I got to see different workshops, and there was even an event that happened to like kind of like close out Founders Day, and that was walking in the messenger's footsteps, where we got to see where the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was born, where his family lived, where he went to school at, just to be able to walk in his footsteps. So what we're doing with the Ministry of Agriculture, we're helping Dr. Ridgely on Muhammad Farms plan the itinerary to get those workshops, such as canning. You know, canning is very important for our people. Like I said, we need the foods, especially in this time where famine is among us. Canning is very important. Different workshops such as welding and whatnot, and also getting a chance to get your hands dirty and work the land. Because when it comes to agriculture, it's not the easiest thing, but it's the most beneficial thing. It's the fruit of his labor. When you go out there and you're getting your hands dirty, what you get from it is absolutely amazing. So we're working on that with Muhammad Farms, and also we've been working on getting in touch with Hereafter Farms. We got some plans we want to do with them as well, something big that'll help our nation. And we're also collaborating with other people who are actually involved with agriculture. There's a brother named Frank Muhammad who has a podcast every Tuesday called Grow Where You Are. And he gives the information, whether you're advanced or you never even touched a plant or dealt with land. He shows you how to grow food wherever you are. If you don't have land, if you have land, and he really walks you step by step with that. So we're collaborating with him and others who actually do this. So that's what we're doing right now in the Ministry of Agriculture. We still have some things in the works, but for right now, that's what we're doing.
Praise be to Allah. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Brother Ryan. And I have another question for you. So if you can, or kind of statement and a question, can you tell the viewers what your educational background is, how old you are, just so they can get an idea of young people, what young people are doing in the Nation of Islam, and kind of talk about how you're working with your education in order to help the nation?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So I graduated I'm 26 years old. I graduated in 2019 with my bachelor's of science in chemical engineering. So chemical engineering in general is using science to solve practical real world problems. So in agriculture, engineering is very important, making systems more efficient, getting things going like that. And I didn't really know how engineering at first fit in with agriculture until I got to learn about it. And I was like, man, this is like, it really goes hand in hand. So one way that I've used or been trying to use my degree when it comes to agriculture and helping with this ministry, I had a chance to talk to Dr. Ridgely before some months back, and we talked about producing biodiesel fuel from peanuts. So, you know, gas prices and everything are high. Nobody wants to spend all that money to fill their tanks up and things like that. But there's a natural way where you can produce fuel from living things such as peanuts. So in that way, I can use engineering to produce that fuel. So you don't have to go to the store or this and that to get fuel. You can go right on your land and manufacture and switch up the components of it and produce the fuel that you need to run your tractors, your cars, and things of that sort. So that's just one aspect of like what you can do with engineering, with my background when it comes to agriculture. I hope that answered the question a little bit. Yes, ma'am.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. I don't know if you mentioned your age, if you want to, but I think it's important for viewers to just see what young people are doing.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I am 26 years old.
Praise be to Allah.
26 years young.
Yes. That's a good way to say it. Praise be to Allah. Okay, for the next question, we're going to have our co-host, Sister Taylor, come on, and she'll be asking the next question.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
First, I'd like to start off by saying, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is his messenger. And again, I greet you all in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. I would like to ask, how can those who are interested in agriculture or farming get involved with the Ministry of Agriculture, or just stay up to date with what you all have going on to learn about those initiatives you spoke about earlier?
Yes, ma'am. So those who are involved would like to get involved, they can follow us on our social media page, Instagram, which is sr.ministry of agriculture. So you can follow us on there. They can DM us from that page, or they can DM me personally on my Instagram page, Ryan, I believe it's _ Ryan X95 or Ryan X95 _ It's one of those, but you can reach out to us on social media. And also, I know the Ministry of Information, Sister Nisa Muhammad, has put together a newsletter where it keeps everyone updated about what's the things that's going on across all 9 ministries. So you can subscribe to that newsletter that she's came up with, and that'll keep you involved with what's going on. If you like to stay updated, or like I said, if you would like to get involved, you can reach out to us on social media.
Thank you so much for that information, and we will be sure to pass it along to the viewers as well as our personal social media. My next question kind of goes back to the trends and some of the things that you spoke about that are going on in the world today. What are some of those trends you're seeing, and then how are you combating those? I personally don't have a lot of land, and so when I see things like that in the industry and in the world, such as like lack of water or different things like that, it makes me nervous. So how can I get involved and stay up to date with what's going on in the world and participate in agriculture? I'm not sure if that makes complete sense. If you need clarification, just let me know.
Yes, ma'am. No, that makes sense. So I'm the same way, sis. I don't have much land either, but like I said, the brother Frank Muhammad, he has a podcast every Tuesday where he talks about, if you don't even have land, you don't even have a backyard, you just got a patio, or you ain't even got a patio, you just got a windowsill. He shows you how to grow food out of the soil bag, that the soil came in. You use milk jugs, egg cartons, and things like that to start growing. And with everything going on in the world, you got these water shortages, food shortages. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us that, to stock up on food. So if you're not able to grow food right now, whenever you go to the store, make sure you grab the basic necessities. Grab the non-perishable items. Your beans, they sell Navy beans, the best bean you can ever buy, ever get your hands on in stores. So make sure you go in there, stock up on your Navy beans, stock up on other non-perishable items, and make sure you stock up on your water for right now, because we can only do so much where we're at right now, what you're given. So just make the most of it. Make sure you stock up every time you go out. Just grab something, even if it's 1 item, 2 items. If you go out every day or every other day, just make sure you're grabbing something and stocking up on your inventory, because it's gonna come a day when you look back and you're like, man, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I started doing that. So just making sure you're stocked up.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for that information. Those are great tips. When is your next event? If you mentioned it earlier, forgive me, but when is your next event that people can log on to learn more information about agriculture?
Yes, ma'am. Well, with the Ministry of Agriculture, our next big event is Founders Day on Muhammad Farms, and that will be the weekend of our Independence Day, July 4th. So we'll come out more information on that when we get it put together a little more. For Brother Frank Muhammad's podcast that I was talking about, if you go, I believe he has not sure if he has a social media page, but I have the link to where you can log on to he does a Zoom podcast. He does a Zoom podcast, and you can log on and see what's going on, how to get prepared with growing food, things of that sort.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. For some of our parents who might be looking for ways to get their children involved in agriculture and farming, do you have any advice for beginners in agriculture or parents who want to get their children involved in farming and growing seeds or just learning about that information in general?
Yes, ma'am. I say one of the ways that parents can get their children involved with agriculture is to well, one, you have YouTube. You have YouTube University. I talked to a lot of people when I started, gaining interest in agriculture, those who were actually doing it. I asked them like how'd they learn to do what they do, and it's like, man, really, YouTube. You can go on YouTube and you can start from the basics, gathering information on how to start things agriculture related. As far with getting the youth involved with it. That's a great question. For right now. I say YouTube or find somebody in your city. I'm pretty sure there's projects or people who are actually doing agriculture or topics related to that you can get your children involved in. And another way to really get them interested and involved in it is, like I said, come to Muhammad Farms the weekend of July 4th. That will really get their hands dirty. That'll get them thinking about and their minds rotating around the importance of agriculture and growing food and why it is a noble job. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that God created the heavens and the earth, and he looked at the earth and he noticed that there wasn't any man to till the land. And he also went on to say that the noblest job given to man is the profession of farming. So we must get our youth involved with it. It's absolutely critical. When I spent a month on Muhammad Farms with Dr. Ridgely, and it was a pretty interesting time. I learned a lot. That's what really opened my eyes to agriculture. And he gave me a book. I can't remember what the book is at the moment, but he gave it to me and wanted me to read it. So I read it while I was there helping Dr. Ridgely with the Staple Goods Program. For those who don't know what the Staple Goods Program is, the Staple Goods Program produces staple goods that the nation can buy. So you can go to the Muhammad Farms website. When the Staple Goods Program is up and running, you can buy your navy beans, your black beans, your brown rice, all these things, honey, coffee, all the things that you would need. Like you were saying, like how can I stay up to date or prepare for what's coming? Like the Staple Goods Program is a really good thing to get involved in and get your goods from, because it's coming from a whole nutritious source, organic food, not none of the excuse my language, the BS that you get in these most of these stores. But when I was on the farm, going back to my point, when I was on the farm, he gave me this book to read, and the book talked about how the government pushed Black people out of agriculture. And when we were released from slavery, I think it was like in the 1920s came around, we owned the most land amongst any people. We had millions of acres of land, a whole lot of land. And the government seen that, so they come up with policies and slick ways to get us off this land. And one way they did that was by offering education to our youth to get them away from the land and have them more interested in other fields of expertise. So now the children, they got them away from the land, and the children that have any more interest in and dealing with the parents' land, farming, taking care of land, they wanted other things at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So that right there, I read that and I was like, man, like, so they purposely brought us away from agriculture, the youth. You know, you think of farming, you think of agriculture, you think of something as like a dumbed down profession. You know, you think of like farmers as not being you don't think too highly of farmers. You know, a lot of people see them as poor or they working hard for nothing. That's not the case. That's how our open enemy portrayed it to us. So when I heard that, I was like, man, since they want me to stay away from agriculture, I'm gonna run towards agriculture, you know, right? So whatever this white man tells us to stay away from, that's what we want to run towards. So I thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for teaching and raising up our brother Dr. Ridgely to have the will to learn these things and to share it. So praise be to Allah. I hope that answered the question. I know I kind of went on a little rant. But praise be to Allah.
What a beautiful answer, filled with so much information. So thank you so much for that answer. And then I do believe Dr. Ridgely has a resource column in the Final Call newspaper where he writes additional information about agriculture and ways to stay in tune with what's going on in the world, and then to help your own self, to help the farm and the land that you may have. So just for those who may not know, catch that in the Final Call. Dr. Ridgely has a column and a whole section about agriculture and Muhammad Farm. So I'll pass it back over to Sister Aziza for further questions.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Sister Taylor, and thank you, Brother Ryan, for the beautiful answers to Sister Taylor's questions. And for everyone who may not be familiar with the Ministry of Agriculture, you can go to NOI.org, and I'll give an explanation of it. And so I'm going to read the description that they have here. And it says, the Ministry of Agriculture is responsible for the development and maintenance of a system of sustainable agriculture to provide wholesome natural food to the members of society. In addition to food, this ministry is responsible for the production of raw materials required to build good homes and manufacture clothing. Praise be to Allah. And so just hearing what Brother Ryan said, what him and the Ministry of Agriculture are doing, it's really important for our nation. So thank you so much, Brother Ryan, for sharing the information you shared.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Yes, and I also want to mention that in a recent issue Final Call newspaper, the 9 ministries were all featured, and it was entitled "Young People Focused on Building." Young People Focused on Building Ministries in Southern Region. So please check it out if you haven't already. Also in Rise Magazine, the 9 ministries were featured. Let me move it over a little bit. The 9 ministries were featured, and this is the copy with Student Minister Ava on the front cover. So please also check that out as well. And so my question for you, Brother Ryan, is going to the article that was written about young people focused on building the 9 ministries. What was something that stood out to you while you were getting interviewed for that particular article? What stood out to you with coming to the ARC, which is, for those who are unfamiliar with it, it's a business hub that Student Minister Sharif has crafted, and it has a variety of businesses. Everything that you need is present there. So there's a boutique for sisters, there's People United for Change, 10,000 Fearless of the South too. There's the Rise Magazine and Supreme Spring Water Office, your Bean Pie Bakery, just a variety of stores, everything that we need in one spot so that we don't have to go out, give our money to anyone else. We can do for self. So Brother Ryan, what were your thoughts on coming and visiting the ARC and then working on or being interviewed for the article written on the 9 ministries visiting the ARC?
Yes, ma'am. Well, it was a wonderful experience, hands down, to be at the ARC and see all these people around my age, you know, being interested in working to help build a nation. So just seeing everybody have the same the same goal in mind, to see our people free and have our nation that, operates without the need of anybody else, independent, and it's just us running it, So just being there in that atmosphere, hearing everybody talk about their talents, the skills they can bring to the table, it was phenomenal. And being interviewed, it was an honor to be interviewed and just to speak on it, and just being in the Ark, because the Ark is an amazing place. You have so many different businesses coming from the Ark. Like you got your Bean Pie, you got your boutique, you got the Rise magazine, and you can even get Dianetics at the Ark. Am I correct? Get
Yes.
Dianetic session. Yes, ma'am. You have all these different things going on, and it's just it's kind of like a symbol of what we can do if we pull our resources together. It's kind of like a 9 ministries in itself. It's a functioning entity in itself, because of the unity of the people. So, speaking of just the meeting that took place, I remember the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I think it was the 10th anniversary of the Million Man March. He said that we must, work these 9 ministries. We must establish these 9 ministries, because these 9 ministries that Brother Abdul Sharif really pushed for the youth, really is for everybody, but the youth, we have all these talents and skills that we need to utilize. He really pushed for us to get into these ministries, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan wants us to establish these ministries because it will help facilitate and grow a nation. It's kind of like the 9 systems in the body. You got your circulatory system, you got your respiratory system, digestive system, all these different systems that work hand in hand. They have different functions, but they're all working towards one common goal. And the 10th system of that 9 systems in your body is the brain. The brain kind of controls it all. The brain helps everything work efficiently and properly. So the same with the 9 systems in the body is the same with the 9 ministries. You have the Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Trade and Commerce, Ministry of Science and Technology, and all these other ministries. And that 10th system that's going to help pull it all together is just the unification of the people, of us to get together and want the will to do something for ourselves. So that right there, I thought about that when I was at the meeting, and I got to see everybody come together, and man, it was beautiful. It was everything that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us, man, is coming to the forefront. It's unfolding, and it's just a beauty to see all that unfold.
Wow, praise be to Allah. Thank you, brother. That was so beautifully said. Praise be to Allah. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed that answer. And so I want to tell everyone who's watching to come to the Ark, or if you have any questions, please call the number. I'm going to give it out. It's 404-963-1078. Once again, that's 404-963-1078. And the purpose of the Ark is to bring all talents together, bring all people together with their talents, in order for us to do as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad instructed us to do, which is do for self or suffer the consequences. So we really thank Student Minister Sharif for crafting the Ark in his mind and allowing us to work within those businesses. And so, as Brother Ryan was saying, he spoke about stocking up on food. As we can see, all the food shortages. You look on the stores now, popular stores, you'll see that they're running out of food or running out of essential items. And so there's definitely, we've been warned about this time. And if you open your eyes, you can definitely see it. And so please let's support one another. Let's support one another and not really focus on going out, spending our money, with these stores that are running out of food. We already know, once again, we've already been warned what's going to happen, and we see it, so we have to prepare ourselves. And so another thing that you can buy at the Ark, you can also get your navy beans. You can get your rice. You can get Supreme Spring Water, which is fluoride-free water. And it tastes amazing. So please support everything that you need. We have everything that we need within our nation. Brother Ryan was talking about the farm, what they have. And so this is just all to bring our resources together, pool our resources, work with one another and share in building this nation. That's the ultimate goal. And so, once again, thank you so much, Brother Ryan, for what you shared. And I have one more question for you as we close
Wow.
out. And it's going to be, what has been, or what's one thing that you've learned? It could be about yourself or about agriculture since working in the Ministry of Agriculture.
Yes, ma'am. That's a good question. One thing I've learned is how important and how vital agriculture really is, and how many young people are actually involved with agriculture. I know earlier you said, how can you get young people? How can parents get their children involved with agriculture? Well, I said YouTube, but scratch that. You can come to the Ministry of Agriculture. We actually have, I don't know why I didn't say this earlier, but we have a brother named Brother Musa and Sister Nikita and Brother Malachi, who actually have their own land and they're actually growing their own food. But I wish Brother Malachi get on, but I know he's busy. He had to do something with his land. But he has a farmland called the Nations Farm. And this brother, I think he's about the same age as me. You know, all the people I just named are like in their 20s, you know. And this brother has just built greenhouses. This brother has grown organic blueberries. He's having an event pretty soon where you can go into his land and pick all the organic fruits and vegetables that you would want. And he's really been working the land. So I really got to see, since I've been working with the Ministry of Agriculture, how many young people are actually doing it. You know, it's not just for, you know, like our grandparents, everything, great grandparents or something like that. No, this is like something that's still vital to this day. And to see young people doing it, it's amazing. So if anybody wants to learn, whether you're young, you're old, come to the Ministry of Agriculture. We actually have brothers and sisters who are doing it. They're not just talking it, they are doing it. They have their land. They can show you how to start off. They can show you what to do, the things you need to start with, and you can actually go to the land and help them, or so they can show you around and get you a kind of idea of what you can do with agriculture. So I say the one thing I've learned is just young people are actually doing agriculture, and it's not a boring thing. It's not a lame thing. This is something that will save your life. It's always going to be important. We love our lives, right? We want to live a long life, right?
Definitely.
So, agriculture is definitely a step to helping you live a prolonged life.
Praise be to Allah. Before we close out, Brother Ryan, do you have any closing statements? Anything you want to share with the viewers?
Yes, ma'am. I would like to say that again. I'm sorry to Brother Musa, Brother Malachi, and Sister Nikita, and my other Brother Musa, who were they're a part of my team. I wish they could have got on, just to really show, because I can only talk so much, but I want them to get on to really talk about what they're doing. You know, how they're making agriculture flourish, how they're really living that life that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us to live when it comes to tilling the land and performing that noble job. So again, I'd like to thank my team for just being my team and making the Ministry of Agriculture what it is, and something to leave with the audience. The best thing you can ever be is a student. It's never too late to learn anything. I don't care if you're pushing 100. There's always something to learn, and never let your pride or your ego get in the way of you learning. You know, if you're willing to learn, that's the best thing. That's the best can save your life. So just be willing to learn. Be willing to put your pride to the side and learn things that can be beneficial for you and beneficial for our nation. So always be a student. You see, we got the best example of a student in our midst, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the most humble human being I've ever met in my life. He's always learning. So don't be afraid to learn. God's knowledge is infinite. So every day we're living, just find something to learn. find something new to study. And if you haven't started really getting interested in, become interested in agriculture, make sure you get interested. Start to learn it. Start to learn it. Once you start to learn it, you'll realize how important it is.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you so much, Brother Ryan. That was beautifully said. And thank you so much once again for coming on Rise Magazine's podcast, sharing all the information you shared, your experiences, and the knowledge that you've learned. Thank you so much, Brother Ryan. Thank you, Sister Taylor, for being the co-host of the Rise Magazine podcast, all the work that you do. Very much appreciate it. So I want to thank you as well. And I want to mention before we close out, of course, this is the Rise Magazine podcast, so we can't say it enough. Please show your support for Rise Magazine. Visit www.risemagazineco.com. Once again, that's www.risemagazineco.com. It's on the screen. You'll be able to subscribe to Rise Magazine, see any updates on our social media, information on advertisements. Please send money to our Cash App to keep this going. That's $Rise Magazine. If you like what we're doing with the magazine, with the podcast, we do need the funds, so please support us by sending in money to $Rise Magazine on Cash App. And once again, to visit the ARC and to show your support for all the entities that are there, please call the number on the screen, which is 404-963-1078. Once again, it's on the screen. You can get Supreme Spring Water. You can get Rise Magazine. That nice pin that you see Brother Ryan wearing, you can also get that at the ARC, the Ambassador of Love pin. He's showing it off right now. Yes. So everything that you need all in one place. Once again, I want to thank Student Regional Minister Abdul Sharif Muhammad for allowing myself and the Rise Magazine team and podcast team for being allowed to have a space to voice what we have to say. Thank you so much for that. We thank Allah for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, once again, whose birth anniversary is today, his 89th birth anniversary. We thank Allah for him and his many sacrifices. And without further ado, thank you so much for everyone who tuned in and watched today. Make sure you come back next week on Wednesday, and may Allah bless us all. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, man.
Walaikum salam.